All right, gang, let's dive right into it. Welcome to another edition of Webinar Wednesday. Super great to be with everyone here today. Always fun when we can dive into these webinars. If this is your first time joining us, big welcome to y'all. I am Jason there on the left, and we're lucky to be joined by David Rockland, the digital strategist, and so much more here at Brilliant Directories. David, thanks for joining us on the webinar today.
Hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. Glad to be back with you for another webinar, number 145. We've got a great tip of the week that should be useful for everybody here in today's webinar. So really looking forward to it.
So webinar 145, we do a webinar every 2 weeks, twice a month, 3 times if we're lucky. I think we'll get to webinar 150 before the end of the year. I think it seems like it'll be towards the end of the year. We'll definitely slip in enough webinars to get to 150. I think that would be a fun time to do some giveaways like an iPad, some lifetime website plans, and things like that on when we get to webinar 150. We'll shoot out some emails and things like that. That'll make it really fun and a good end of the year celebration for all the time we've spent together here on the webinars and making it through 2022. All right, we are streaming on YouTube. That's something new we started this year, and it's really awesome because the webinar replays are instantly available right after the webinars. You can head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/YouTube and click on that red subscribe button. You'll get notified as soon as we release new videos, tips of the week, feature releases, and things like that within the YouTube channel. So definitely look forward to seeing you there. And also recommend joining our Facebook group. You can head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook, and we will post a link to the replay, to the YouTube replay in the Facebook group. So make sure you join us there. And it's also a great way to ask questions about your website and see how others are building their membership websites as well. I'm in there as well as other BD members. So we definitely look forward to seeing you join us there. And we do see some new names and faces. Sage, welcome to the webinar. We have a few extra Williams in this webinar today. Welcome to the new ones. And also Jim and Emily, nice to see you. And Don. Just a little bit about Webinar Wednesday. It's a great way to keep in touch and share some of the newer features that are built into the platform week after week. We do provide a monthly change log of all the updates. It's about 80 to 100 updates that we push each month. However, in the webinars, we like to share the updates that you can take actionable steps on to help grow your community. These are things like increasing website traffic, identifying revenue opportunities from members or website visitors, improving your website navigation to help with conversions and things like that. So if you have questions on any of these topics or anything else about your membership or directory website, please hang on to them. We'll get to as many questions as we can in just a little bit down the line in the webinar. Okay, and speaking of updates, we do have a good handful of BD Lab updates to share with everyone today. Start at the top of the list here where it says new features, and we have some new settings related to your sign up or checkout pages. We've always had a few settings where you can include a sidebar on the sign up page when someone's trying to join a membership plan, and now there's just a couple new design options you have for your checkout pages. I'll quickly show you where those are. Okay, great. So let's look at a sample sign-up page here. So by default, the sign-up pages are just the sign-up forms. If it's a free sign-up form, it just asks for the email and password. If it's a paid sign-up form, it includes entering the credit card information as well. You can add a sidebar to these pages, and let me show you an example of that. We've added a sample sidebar to this membership plan here. And sidebars on sign-up pages are really cool. You can use them in a few ways. You can simply put motivational or confidence booster images, like it's a safe checkout, maybe images of the credit cards that your payment gateway accepts, Visa, MasterCard. You can even put links to maybe other membership plans if they want to toggle between plans while they're on this page. You can put maybe contact us for support, so people who are having trouble signing up, they have some kind of recourse to contact you. So there's a lot of use cases and things you could drop into a checkout page sidebar. But with this updates, we're just showing you where you can enable sidebars on the membership plan checkout pages. So first place, the new settings are in design settings. and I'll show you where the existing settings were. If we go to design settings, and if you go to sidebar alignment in the first tab and you scroll down, you'll have a new one here, checkout pages. And you can choose left slim, left wide, it's slightly wider sidebar, right slim, right wide, or do not display. By default, it's set to do not display. These are global settings that will apply to all your membership plans, and you can define those here. If you go into your specific membership plan, like let's edit this one here, also on the first tab here, if we scroll down, and you can actually, let me just do this, you can use the search here and type sidebar. It's probably faster. We could see sign up settings, and one is you can choose the sidebar you want. So you can create a sidebar in your toolbox in the sidebar manager, and you can say for this membership plan, I want to display this sidebar, the sign up page sidebar that I created. And the design, if you want it left, right, slim, or wide, or use the default settings. Those are the global settings from the design settings. I'll go ahead and switch this to, right now it's right slim. We'll switch this to left wide, and I'll save the changes. And we'll refresh this here. And we can see here now the sidebar is on the left and it's a little wider. We can see the images are a little larger as well. So yeah, you can choose that left or right for the sidebar of your choice. Also now, in the previous webinar, we created the ability for your members when they're filling out their profile information to also add TikTok, Snapchat, and WhatsApp, to their profile, to their profiles. Now for the website within your general settings, you can also add these three, TikTok, Snapchat, and WhatsApp. Let me show you where that is. This will be in your settings and general settings. And it's the third tab here, social media. So here you can add your companies, the websites, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. And we have three new ones here, TikTok, WhatsApp, and Snapchat. And you would just put the full URL for your profiles of these platforms. And if we look at the live website, we can see what they look like when they're placed in the footer. They'll dynamically generate here. So here's TikTok, WhatsApp, and Snapchat. Pretty self-explanatory there. Also in the previous webinar, we shared the ability to add ID tags to section titles of your web pages. If you're in the web page builder and you have a title heading, you can add an ID tag and a link to it. We've now enabled this for the front end when you're creating a blog post, article, or any type of post. And what this really allows you to do is, I guess the most direct use case would be to create like a table of contents that we're very familiar with seeing when you visit a blog post, especially longer blog articles. And there's a table of contents at the top and people can quickly link to a section of that content. Let me show you an example of it and how you can set this up in your blog posts. So we have an example blog post here, nothing fancy, no frills. I'll just refresh this page one more time. And we can see here I've added like a table of contents and just very generic. So this is section 1, section 2, section 3. I'll just scroll down for a second. Here's section 1, section 2, and section 3. So with this update now, you can actually create links that link to specific section titles, heading titles of a blog post. So if I click on section 3, we can see we're immediately directed to section 3. And if we click on section 1, we're taken to section 1. So if you have a longer blog article, this can make it easier for a user and also good for SEO as well, because the search engines love table of contents. It helps them understand your content a bit better because you are linking to the section. So let's see how we achieve this in this sample blog article. So let's actually go to that sample blog article. I'll go to My Content, Manage Posts. And here's the example blog post. We'll go to edit this. And we'll scroll down to the editor. So we see here, we have the table of contents. This is section 1, 2, or 3, and we have the section titles. So these are headings. So let's make a section 4 link as an example. So if we scroll down, section 3 title, and let's say we want to put section 4 right here. So I'll go ahead and type in section 4 title. Now, what you want to do is highlight the text, and then we want to turn it into a title heading. So click on this this backwards paragraph icon here and choose one of the heading options, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Generally, it'll be heading 2, but you might use 3 or 4. Heading 1 is usually just one on a page. It's usually the main title of the article. You don't want to overuse that for SEO. So in this case, we'll use heading 2. So now that we've created a heading, we want to right-click on it and give it an ID tag. So we're going to call this section 4. You don't want to use any spaces in your ID tags. Just make it one string of text. So section 4. And save changes. So now we have a heading title. If I right click it, it has an ID tag, section 4. Now we can link to this section 4 that has the ID tag. So we'll scroll up and we'll go here. We'll create a new link. This is section 4. And when we want to link to an ID tag, an element that has an ID tag on the same page, we create a link and you use a hashtag and then section 4. So you just want to make sure you have the hashtag and then the ID name of that title, which we created with section 4. And I'll insert the link and we'll save the changes for this article. And let's refresh this article. So here we now have, this is section 4 and it goes to section 4. Pretty straightforward. It's been pretty requested in the Facebook group to have this functionality, so now it exists, and we hope that it helps you guys when you're organizing content on your site. All right, this next one, in previous webinars as well, we've shown you how to add custom content to specific search results pages. So if you wanted to search for members in California and then add custom content to that, you can do that, or a specific top level or sub-level category and turn that into a custom or add custom content to that search results page. Now you can do that with your membership plans. So you can actually create a search result page that only shows, for example, members of your membership plan 1 group or your premium members. And then you can add custom content there. So I want to do 2 things here. One, I want to share the previous video. I'm just going to drop it in the chat here that we had on how to customize search results pages. Super handy. And that would be here. Add custom content, banners, and SEO value to search results pages. So this video here will now apply to membership plans as well. So if you want to have a search result page of all the members of a specific membership plan, you can. Let me show you how we can achieve that, and let me show you a quick example of what that looks like as well. All right, so let's go back to the dashboard here. Let's go to our finance tab and membership plans. So I've actually created a custom URL. We have 66 members in the local business listing membership plan. I'll go ahead and edit this. And this comes up quite often. We get the question to support, I want to show a page with all the members of a certain membership plan. Well, this is how you would do it. So you would go to the search visibility tab. Also a quick way, you can just search for URL and then go to the search visibility tab. So here we have a membership plan search results URL. So you can have a custom URL for this membership plan. In this case, I called it special members, a little cheesy, but that's what I've named it. You can name it whatever you want. And if I click on this link, it'll take me to the search page with all the active members of this membership plan. So we can see there were 66 on this in the back end, but only 62 are actually active members. But this page is only showing those members. And you can see I added a special title here, our most valued members, and so on. So let me show you how I achieve this. The first thing you want to do is copy this link of the page you created. And then you want to go to the web page builder and you want to create a new web page and give it the exact same URL as what you gave it in the membership plan settings. This is very important so it knows that this web page will be connected to the URL for that membership plan that you've just set. And then the second important thing you want to do is under page type here, choose member search results. So it knows that this is a member search results page and it's going to kind of fetch the results for this URL, which is going to be the members of that page. From there, if you watch the video in the chat that I shared, you can add a custom title, custom heading, you can enable the hero section, and so on, which is exactly what I've done here. I've added spotlight members, our most valued members. However you want to make them feel special for having a specific search page that simply highlights these special members on your site. All right, and wrapping up quickly here with some items that are coming soon. We've mentioned this before. There is a new domain manager coming soon. We've all used the domain manager. It's how we added our custom URL to our membership websites. We're updating the look and providing more data, metrics, and settings. And it's also, there are going to be settings to improve your email deliverability. This should be released next week, if not the week after, and I can show you an example of what the new domain manager will look like. Before we look at the new thing that's coming, let's look at the current method. The current method has worked for years. It's very simple. It just asks you to enter your new domain name and confirm it, and the website will now be connected to that domain name as long as you've followed one of the methods here, name server method or a record method. This is the design for the new domain manager coming soon. So when you connect your domain, it's going to fetch some data of the domain, who the registrar is, when the domain expires, and if it's within several months, there will be an alert here. So if you come here and you see the alert, you know you want to make sure that you're on auto renew for your domain or to take action. And also the connection method that you've connected your domain. So whether you're using the name server method or a record method, we'll be adding a couple other methods down the line. But what this will let you know if you're connected properly. This will allow our support team to help you in cases where you don't know what to do. They can troubleshoot issues quicker, or you can self-fix the issue by seeing some of these alerts and the instructions you'll get on the right-hand side. Also, a lot of people are installing SSLs themselves, which is great, or using the BD SSL. In any case, we'll show you the stats and metrics of your SSL to make sure that it's valid. The front end of your site is protected properly, as well as the admin of your site is protected properly as well. And if you need to troubleshoot, the ability to disable or enable, re-enable your SSL if you're seeing any issues and you want to see if SSL is the culprit. And then lastly, I think the most important is the email deliverability. The two main important things that help with email deliverability, and I know what they do kind of, I've been learning, but all we want to see is an all good next to these is the SPF record or the SPF spoof protection, and also the sender authentication. And we can see in this example, the sender authentication, it's not authenticated yet. And I'll just give you, if I click on this, there's going to be a lot of like self-fixing buttons here. So if something's not working right or you have an alert, you can click a button and it should repair itself in just under 60 seconds or less than that. And what the SPF and the sender authentication do, the SPF makes sure that no one can spoof your domain name, sending your domain name as an email, as a from email from other sources. And also the sender authentication, I think it does something similar. It's just making sure that no one can spoof or use your domain name, or the third party that is using your domain name to send emails is authorized and authenticated. So we can see here now we have sender authentication verified, SPF spoof protection is enabled, and we have an all good here. So this will come in real handy. We're looking to release it next week, so coming up real close, and this will help with a lot of email deliverability and other issues related to domain management of your site. And then even in the future, we can foresee additional tabs here related to domain settings of your site and potential metrics and things like that. And also coming very close, the Zapier API update, where you can update member records and import member leads into your BD website, is coming soon. The ability to translate your default text labels, starting with Spanish, also should be released next week. So a lot of people want to translate their sites, and right now you have to go text label by text label. We're creating libraries of text labels of different languages, starting with Spanish and then French, German, etc., based on popularity and necessity. So you'll be able to change all your default text labels with one click. After that update, we'll also be making sure that all the default email templates are translated as well. So you can just translate all the essential language of your site with just one click. Another huge one that a lot of people I know are excited about, the ability to have coupon codes for one-time purchases, such as leads, digital products, and more. Right now, you can create coupon codes for member signups and member upgrades, and it stops there. We needed to figure out how the user interface was going to be for creating coupon codes for leads and digital products. And I can show you an example of what that's going to look like on the admin side of where you're going to have control over this. So currently, when you create a coupon code, let's do it together real quick. So you enter the coupon code name, like say 15, and here's the magic part. Right now, you can just choose if the coupon code is for signups and upgrades or new signups only. And when it's new signups only or signups and upgrades, down here, you can choose the membership plans that this coupon code can be applied to. So if you don't choose anything, the coupon code could be used for any membership plan sign up. So we needed to come up with a plan to support digital products, leads, and things like that. So what we're going to do is a small modification here, where it says, what can this promo code be used for? You can check whether it's for new signups, plan changes or upgrades, lead purchases, digital products, and then pay-per-post. And as you check these off, then you'll have tabs down here in the bottom left. And for example, if new signups are clicked, then you'll choose which membership plans that this coupon code could be used for. If it's the same coupon code for digital products, as an example, you can then, it'll be a list of all your published digital products, and you can choose which digital products the coupon code can be used for. Pay-per-post is the same thing. You can choose the post types that the coupon code can be used for, and also member leads, which membership plans can use the coupon code when they're purchasing their leads. So this should open up a wealth of functionality for the website owner and allow you to provide more incentives to your members to make purchases through your website. So this one is a little bit further down the line. We hope to have this released before the end of the year. I think that would be safe to say. That would be a good goal. It's just a little bit more complex, and we want to make sure we get it right the first time, but now we have a roadmap and plan to get this done for you guys. And last but not least, tons more speed and security updates across the entire BD networks. So thank you guys for all the suggestions in the Facebook group and the support tickets. I know this was a little bit of a longer list here today, but what we can do is just take a quick pause before we go to the tip of the week. If you want to raise your hand and ask any questions about the new features or coming soon features, specifically about the BD Lab updates, feel free to raise your hand. You can make a quick comment, and then we'll move on to the tip of the week. Olga, it looks like you're self-muted there. There we go.
Yeah, hi Jason, how are you?
Good, Olga, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. First of all, thanks so much. I'm so happy to hear that those coupons could be applied to digital products. This is something I was dreaming about. It's just unbelievable. I'm so happy. Thank you so much for that. And just a suggestion, if it's possible. It has become a lot easier to create forms, to customize forms as soon as we got this possibility to see what you actually get as soon as you add fields or change fields. Is it possible to do something like this with just the creation of normal pages? Because each time you need to check something, you need actually to click view.
I'm with you. I want to do the same thing for sidebars and web pages, actually.
I think it would make life a lot easier because I create tons of pages and I have a lot of websites with you, a lot. And I have started setting them up quite intensively because they have been idle for quite some time. But now when I'm quite confident in doing what I'm doing, it will really make a difference if it's possible to see what exactly you're doing on the page.
Okay, let me ask you a question while we're there. just as an example. So
Well,
if there
even
was
if it's possible, I'm still happy, you know, with everything you're doing. But
yeah, no. I just want to if there was a button here that said preview
yeah,
change,
yeah,
preview
yeah, or
changes,
something like this, even, yeah.
and you would get a pop out or a pop up or something where you can preview the changes and then close the window.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Okay, thank you for that suggestion. Very
Okay.
valid.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Olga. Good suggestion there.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Okay, always great to hear from Olga there. All right, one more here. We got Steven. How you doing, Steven?
I have a quick question. I actually posted this on the Facebook page, I think yesterday or today. But the question is, so when the member completes the profile but doesn't complete the profile, they're missing a couple sections. Is there a way to have an automated email go out to the member to say, hey, look, you know, you haven't added your profile photo, for example, you know, and then as the admin can control the frequency of that going out. And I'm bringing that up with the whole context of Zapier. Is that possible through the Zapier modules that you have?
It is, and let me show you. Maybe not exactly to the specific way you want to do it, but I'll show you a quick workaround for that.
Okay.
So under search settings, if you have this setting, require complete profile set to yes. So I'm assuming you have that enabled.
I have that. Yep.
So when you come to the search members page in the admin area, there is an option here to search for complete or incomplete profiles. And if we search this, so we see here there's currently 12 members who have incomplete profiles. So in a nutshell, Stephen, I don't want to get into too much detail, but what we want to do is create a smart list. And we want to call this incomplete profiles. And so now we have a list of the incomplete profiles. Let's actually go to our smart lists. And we can do a few things here. So let's search for incomplete. And we already made one in the past, I can see. So we made one in March. So what we can do here is we can send this list as a webhook. You can also send a newsletter. So potentially maybe once a month, you might want to just set a reminder of yourself to send to webhook. And when you do that, you can have a workflow in Zapier that will email these people whatever email template you've created. Probably like, it looks like a few things are missing from your profile, and come back and hopefully you have instructions on for them on how to successfully complete the required fields of their profile. But this is a way to do it in bulk and to have it go to Zapier.
Quick question. So if you did that, do you have to do it like every single time? Say you send it out today. A month later, when you have new members who haven't completed their profile, do you have to again create a smart list and then do the whole thing again? Or once you create a smart list one time, it kind of updates it and...
You create it one time, and let's say it's a month later from now, and this list is now only 6 people.
Yeah.
It will only send that email, depending on your Zapier workflow. Only 6 people will be included in that that Zapier workflow. So the cool thing about the smart list is that they're dynamic, meaning when you do a search in the search members, like California incomplete profiles, members will move in and out of that criteria, and the smart list will the size of the smart list will fluctuate. They're not static lists. So you can ensure that if you're sending an email to a certain criteria of people, that they still meet that criteria of what was searched for in the search members.
Good, thank you. It helps. It's great.
You're welcome. And yeah, I know it's not the exact answer you're looking for, but there'll be more updates to the workflows. I mean,
it gets closer. That's good.
It gets closer. Yeah, exactly. All right, Stephen, thanks for the question there. All right, guys, I do see a few more hands up here, but just for the sake of time, please save those questions. We'll move on over to the tip of the week. And I really like this tip of the week. Normally, we'll showcase a specific feature of the platform and really how to press it and leverage it to grow your community or utilize it to its maximum capabilities. In this tip of the week, David and I were talking earlier this week, and we wanted to talk about business growth. We wanted to take a step away from working in the website, on the features, and talk about how to grow your membership business. So David, if it's okay with you, I'd like to pass over the reins and you can kind of take us through this pretty cool tip of the week we have here today.
Absolutely. As Jason mentioned, a little bit more of an abstract presentation this week, one that I think will certainly be helpful for everybody watching out there, whether your membership or directory site is brand new, maybe you haven't even started it yet, or if it's been around for a while. Hopefully this will give you a little bit of a different perspective on some ways that you can go about improving your website and how it's managed and everything. So a good place to start, I think, would be to identify how many businesses actually make it long term and why, or at least one of the reasons why many of them don't actually last too long. So 2/3 of businesses make it 2 years, but then after just 5 years, only half of the businesses are able to stick around. And then 5 years later, total of 10 years, less than 1/3 of businesses are able to make it that long. One of the common reasons for this is because a lot of entrepreneurs, especially if they're trying to do everything all on their own, it's very easy to be consumed by the day-to-day operations, the monotony of all the daily tasks that come with managing the new business, especially with a membership community or directory website. There's a lot of different things to manage. There's a lot of balls to be juggling. And so eventually, the lack of time that's invested into actually growing the business, because all the time is going into just making sure that all the gears keep turning, that can over time eventually lead to stagnation of the business, of the community, and then eventually even decay of it. And that's the last thing we want. We want to make sure that our business is one of those 30% that makes it 10 years and longer. So hopefully some of the topics and the items that we touch on here will help prolong the life of your business. And I think that's another thing to think about here. A lot of people, when starting a membership community or a directory website, it doesn't hit them initially that what they're really doing is starting a business. And I think that's a mindset that a lot of website owners kind of need to grasp onto, because that's what's going to ensure the longevity of not just the project, but the business itself.
You know, we've talked about in the past getting off the hamster wheel. You know, it's important to work on day-to-day tasks, jobs, and requirements for your business online or even brick and mortar. But also it's important to get off that hamster wheel, take a step back and plan, make a roadmap or plan on how you're going to sustain the business or grow the business and more. So this is what we're going to cover in this week's tip of the week.
Spot on. And so a common phrase, many of you might have heard of this before, we want to make sure we're not just working in the business, we want to make sure that we're also working on our business. So what's the difference, working in versus working on the business? Working in the business is the execution and the management of a job, those day-to-day tasks, things that do need to get done. There's no way the business can continue on if these daily tasks aren't being completed by somebody, but we do want to set some time aside to work on the business, the big picture sort of stuff, the vision and strategy. You know, in a large organization, these are mostly the tasks that those C-suite executives, you know, the chief operations officer, you know, they're not necessarily going to be on the ground doing the day-to-day tasks that need to get done. They might be spending more time thinking about how operations can be made more efficiently, what things can be done differently, what new things could the business be doing to improve, what things can be stripped away that aren't necessary. So even if you're just on your own and you're a solopreneur, we'll get into this more in the next couple slides, but we do still want to set some time aside to focus on the big picture sort of stuff, because without that, if we're so narrowly focused on the day in, the day out, we can end up losing sight of that big panoramic view, the big picture of what it actually takes to continue to grow our business and continue moving it down the line.
And I'd say that, you know, this is probably the most important thing. I can even speak on when we were, creating Brilliant Directories over the last 10 years, especially when you're a bit younger and you have a lot of fire in your heart. You can pull all-nighters and you're going to do every job on the list because you're pretty much working with either a small team or really by yourself. And as we get a bit older, we're not spring chickens anymore, and time management is really what this tip of the week is about, is prioritizing and also diversifying the type of tasks you're working on for the business. So this is really about time management and learning how to balance your day-to-day, week-to-week, and month-to-month priorities in the business and on the business. And so we'll just continue moving on here with that.
Yeah, it's almost entirely about time management, and it's important to identify what we're spending our time on. So part of that goes into what are actually some of those tasks that encompass working in our business, those daily type things that need to happen, but can take time away from some of the big picture things. So this depends largely on the type of business. A membership or directory website, they're going to have much different daily tasks than any other sort of business. And then it also depends, what additional services or features you're providing to your members. But some of the basics here, initially building out our website, Jason mentioned getting stuck on the hamster wheel. This is something we focused on a lot in a lot of the early webinars, was helping people kind of stay focused on the big picture, not getting caught up in the minutia of the tiny, minuscule features of the website that really aren't that important. What's most important is the big picture, getting people in the door. And then over time, we can make some of those smaller changes to the website. Delivering your service, whether that's the website or the community itself, or if you're providing additional services to your members, whether part of the membership or at an additional cost, those are daily tasks that need to get done. The daily administrative work, like answering emails, customer service, bringing on new members, everything like this, marketing and social media, getting the word out about your website, trying to continue to grow your member community. These are all such important tasks that do need to get done, but they take a lot of time. And so in a couple slides here, we'll talk about some time management tips, things you can do to hopefully free up just a little bit of time so you can spend a little bit extra time focusing and thinking about some of the big picture things so that you have a better idea of where you want to steer your ship.
And just one more note about working in the business. It's all about just getting the ball rolling. I don't know if there's an exact rule for it, but I really like to take things to 80%, or 75%, because perfection doesn't exist. Let's talk about a website's homepage, for example. One, it's going to be ever changing as time goes by. But I've seen, and I can see, how wanting to continuously work on your website's homepage, and sometimes using that as an excuse, if we're being real with ourselves, as an excuse not to work on probably some more important parts of the business, you'll just keep continuing to change your storefront. Imagine you saw a shop owner on the street and every day they were changing their window dressings of what people could see from the street. That really doesn't make sense. So when you're working in your business, even when it comes to answering emails, you have email templates. Some things are going to be a little bit automated or systematic. Get things to about 80% and then just let it be for a period of time. Let it sit, let it marinate, let it tell you later what needs to be changed. Because obsessing over one part of your business, that's really getting stuck on the hamster wheel. And that's what really hinders growth, is getting stuck, being hung on one specific part of the business or the website. So just keep that in mind also, as that is what working in the business is. And we want to get out of that at certain points.
Yeah, perfection is the enemy of progress, I think is how the saying goes. And it certainly holds true. And some of those big picture tasks that come with working on your business, those are, kind of, the standard things that might come to mind: strategic planning, goal setting. We want to know what we're striving to achieve. Otherwise, we're kind of just flailing about in the day-to-day. research and development. Maybe there's new tools or new processes that we can implement into our day-to-day tasks to make things more efficient, free up a little bit of time. Learning and education. If we're all on our own, kind of wearing all the hats here, it can be very difficult to find enough time to get everything done that needs to get done. But if you can spend some time learning more about a certain thing, maybe you don't know a whole lot about marketing or about online ads, but you're confident that that can help you grow your business. If you're spending so much time on those daily tasks and you don't have enough time to learn about online ads, or your business isn't growing enough so you don't have the resources to outsource digital ad creation or ad management, we want to find ways to make more time so that we can better educate ourselves, and so that maybe there's some other tasks that we might actually find time to be able to take on that can then continue to grow the business. Finding new partnerships, if you can't do everything on your own, maybe you can kind of piggyback off of other like-minded people, whether they're in your industry or maybe they're in a supplemental industry. Speaking with mentors, the Facebook group, the Brilliant Directories Facebook group, has been a tremendous resource, especially for new membership and directory website owners. Hearing firsthand what works, what doesn't work, what people have wasted a lot of time doing because they thought it would be beneficial, what people have done to actually kind of skyrocket their success and totally change the trajectory of their website. Learning from people who have kind of been through all of this before, that's an invaluable resource.
Then also one more thing on working on your business. It's not just to grow your business, but it's to create efficiencies. Let's go back to the setting up advertisements for your company and the learning and education. If you can figure out how to spend less but get more traffic to your site, quality traffic, you've just created an efficiency, not an inefficiency. And that's going to save you money and bring more traffic to your site. And that just helped your business. You're going to keep costs down, et cetera, et cetera. So finding, and then efficiencies are also like setting up auto reply emails and things like that, or some type of a support center to support your members in an automated fashion. Obviously, like a documentation center, if your site warrants that or your business warrants that. So I like to also think of working on your business, not just growing, but finding efficiencies that help you operate more lean and more efficiently, as it says. So think of that when you're working on your business as well.
Yeah, and sometimes those daily tasks can play into working on your business. Even if you need to spend some more time putting in place some of those efficiencies, that could free up time in the future. So you're kind of investing in your future self in that point. So really the main thing here, aside from healthy time management, is balance and perspective. It's not good to only focus on working in your business, because then it might not make it 2, 5, 10 years down the road. But it's also not good to only focus on your business, because then you don't really know what's going on within. So working in your business does have its positives. It allows you to understand who your customers actually are and what they truly want. It allows you to identify what makes for happy customers and what makes for unhappy customers. If we're kind of just too busy, too focused on the big picture, we might think we know what our members want, but if we're not interacting with them on a regular basis, something that we think they want, they might totally be disregarding, or it might actually be hurting their experience rather than helping it. Working in the business also ensures that we're providing customers with top-tier service, making sure our users, our customers, our members are as happy as possible. That's one of the easiest ways to make sure we're standing out from any of our competitors, and to make sure that we're leaving a lasting positive impression on our members. It also allows you, just in general, to keep a finger on the pulse of the business as a whole. It allows you, again, to identify what's working, what's not working, what could be improved, on those daily tasks, what could be made more efficient, what things do we maybe not need, what things could we take out that, we might not even need to spend any time on. So even though at first you may need to work a lot in your business. Over time, here's a metaphor for you. It's difficult to steer the ship when you're busy being a firefighter. Being a firefighter, especially if you're doing it all on your own and you're just starting out, it's necessary, but eventually we want to dedicate some time to being able to steer the ship. And on the flip side, working on the business, it allows us, as we mentioned, to develop a clear vision for the business, where we actually want it to go. If we're just going through the motions day in and day out, then there's nothing to say that external factors might not come along and affect our trajectory, and we might not even know it. It also allows you to invest in yourself, to learn what's working, what's not working, to learn about efficiencies that can be put in place, to learn about new strategies that you could be implementing. Because if we ourselves are not growing as individuals, then the business itself also isn't going to grow. Working on the business also allows you to kind of take a step back, take a breath, reevaluate the product or any additional services that we may be providing to our customers, to our members. If, again, we're just kind of focusing on the day in, the day out, just trying to get all the daily tasks done, then trends might be changing. We might not notice that, and we might at that point not have the opportunity to kind of take a second look with fresh eyes and an open mind, and actually kind of think to ourselves, okay, if I'm coming to my website, to my community for the very first time, is the messaging still connecting? Is it still resonating with me? The features or the services that are being offered, are these things still important? So it's important to periodically take a step back, come in with an open mind and fresh eyes, and see if the product and the additional services that we're offering are still valuable to our target audience. And kind of just overall consistently evaluating our performance. I don't know how accurate this statistic is, but the point still holds true. 80% of results come from 20% of activity. But if we don't have the time to take a step back and kind of evaluate everything, then how will we ever know what that 20% of efficient activity or beneficial activity actually is? Because once we can identify that, we can put even more resources into what we know is working and put less resources into what we have found out really isn't doing a whole lot for us, isn't paying any dividends.
Yeah, I think that last point is super important. Like I was mentioning, like sometimes you just gotta put something out there and just let it be, and don't kill yourself over it. Get some data, see how it performs, and then review it and see if it's working or not working, if it needs to be improved, or you did a great job on the first shot, or what can be added to it. If you're constantly working on something, you're not giving it a chance to breathe on its own and to give you any data of how it's performing on its own legs. So letting something ride out for a period of time, just get it to a good enough point, and then you can review it in a month or so, or a few weeks, or whenever you have the time to come back to it. But in that time that you took a break from it, you were growing another part of your business and making something else awesome. And that's what we should always be doing, is shifting from task to task, especially solopreneurs or smaller teams, shifting from task to task and just pumping out a few things of awesomeness every now and then circling back to the beginning and then doing it all over again.
Yeah, and kind of in summary here, we've kind of touched on all of these points already, but again, as solopreneurs, which the majority of us out there are, even if it's just you on your own, launching or managing your membership website or your directory website, maybe you are doing it just on the side. Maybe you still have a full-time job. So now you're really thinking, oh man, how do I have enough time to kind of focus on the daily task, but also dedicate some time to thinking about where I want this to go, what's working, what's not working, everything like that. So I think a decent rule of thumb that could probably be followed for the majority of us out there is to try to spend just 15, 20% of the time that you're currently spending on your daily tasks, shift that over to working on the business, thinking more about the big picture sort of stuff. If you're spending just, even if it's only an hour a day working on your community and your website, maybe you can dedicate, 10, 15 minutes of that time to looking for new people to network and connect with, new ways to automate certain tasks, or even prepare ahead of time. If you're spending a lot of time on content creation, maybe that's something that you can outsource. Websites like Fiverr and Upwork and Freelancer, they make it so easy and also pretty cheap now to outsource a lot of mundane tasks like that. Maybe that's an option. Or if you don't want to outsource something like content creation, maybe you can spend an hour on a weekend putting together just a couple short articles that you can then share throughout the week. And then you can spend that time during the week focusing on more of the big picture stuff. You can also, again, periodically, maybe once every 2 weeks, once a month, take a step back, come into your website or your community with fresh eyes and an open mind, and actually look for something wrong with your business or your website. Actually, intentionally try to find something wrong that you can right. Now, again, you don't want to get caught up in everything and get stuck back on the hamster wheel. But again, maybe trends are changing that you didn't necessarily notice before. And now that you're taking a step back, you can identify, and maybe you can change some of the messaging or the verbiage on your website to better communicate with maybe new things that your members or your target audience are, have told you that they're wanting. You can also just directly ask your customers or your members, in this case, if they have any ideas for improvements. If you think a certain feature or service that you're offering is paramount, you can ask them, do you really think what we're offering here, this specific feature, is beneficial? You might be surprised. Maybe it's not, and then you can spend less time focusing on that specific feature or service and put more time, invest more energy into providing other things that might help grow your community better than that thing that you thought would and actually isn't. You can also find ways to further differentiate your business or your community, your website, from competitors instead of just trying to just directly compete with them. If you can't compete with them on features, for example, maybe you can compete with them on the customer service or the community aspect. Maybe you can try to energize your community a little bit more, make it friendlier, more inviting, make it something that people actually want to join on a service side, in addition to just the product itself, the website itself and the features that you're providing. And lastly, one other option we mentioned is to network with other professionals, whether it's in your industry or in a supplementary industry, so that you can kind of act as a springboard off of each other. Because especially if you're just doing this all on your own, again, it can be really hard to find the time and the energy to do it all on your own. And there's probably other people thinking the same thing, again, whether it's in your industry or another. And maybe there's ways to work together that would be mutually beneficial for both of you. So, if you can spend 10 minutes a week trying to look for people or opportunities like that, maybe that would be a good use of some of that extra time.
This is an amazing list, David. Thank you for putting this together. The replay for this will be available. So if you want to come back and take a look at some of these slides, we went a little quick. Hopefully we didn't belabor the point of what we're trying to make here. But thank you for that, David. Oh, even this tip of the week was taking a step back from the features and things like that and thinking about the business itself or the community itself and how we as website owners and membership website owners can take a step back and figure out how we're going to tick the needle forward to grow the community or find efficiencies, I think was a key point there as well. So what we'll do now is, we do have some time left. I'm going to lower everyone's hands. Stephen, I'm going to lower your hand. If you have a question, please raise it again. We'll take some questions. If you have any comments, we can happily help you with your BD website as well. We'll do our best to get to as many as we can here. And we'll start here with Stephen. You had your hand up first there, I saw, so we'll unmute you there. How you doing, Stephen?
Great. Yeah, thanks again. Yeah, all those are excellent points. And, of course, easier said than done, but all excellent. One thing I'll share, I heard, I was watching a speech by Steve Jobs, and I'm sure other people may have said this too, but one thing he said was, his advice was always start with the customer and then work backwards. So, figure out what the customer wants, and then you work backwards to create a product that's going to suit the customer, as opposed to create a product and then try to push it to the customer, or try to convince the customer that he or she needs it. So I just thought that was interesting. One question I have, if you don't mind sharing, and I don't want to get too sensitive or too, private, but using BD as an example, and whatever you're comfortable sharing, did it take a while for even BD to kind of get up and running? And, was it years? Was it a couple of years, 1 year? And what was sort of the journey there? Because it might give us some inspiration.
Absolutely. I'll actually share a link to it. If you go to,
okay.
I think we have it here on the customer success stories. I have a blurb here, and it's basically our story about since 2009. I'll share this link here. But in a nutshell, like, we actually started, Matthew and I, the co-founders, we wanted to create we had directory site ideas. The first ones were for finding muralists, mural artists, and interior designers. We had 2 separate websites, and we created a platform where we could manage the 2 directories under one interface. That was basically the underlying code for what is Brilliant Directories today. So we were just focusing on our own directory websites, and they were doing quite well. We had a system for mass emailing or connecting with designers, and featuring them on the website, having them pay for memberships and leads and things like that. And then we did it for other industries as well. But for us, as we were working on the business, we realized we had inadvertently and accidentally created a platform that other people wanted to use. Not just for our own directories, because friends and family started coming to us with their directory ideas. So we had to start tweaking the platform, not just for us to use it, but for others to use it for their own independent ideas. And there was a point in the business where we decided that we're not going to focus on our individual directories anymore. And we are going to focus on the platform so we can get Brilliant. We called it Brilliant Directories. We came up with the name one evening, so we can share the platform with people around the world, and that's where we are today, with really tens of thousands of users around the world. Wow.
But it took some years, though, I assume. It wasn't just a quick journey, or was it pretty quick to get to?
It was about 3 years from 2009 to 2012. We were working on the own directories, building the platform that we didn't even know was going to be Brilliant Directories. And then in 2012, so 3 years later, we decided to shift focus to just focusing on Brilliant Directories. And from there, we moved in together, to be honest, quite frank, and we were living together at some point, and we just focused on the platform and building that out to what it is today.
And from 2012 to what point, though? How many years did it take you after when you started focusing on what today is Brilliant Directories? Did it get you to a point where you felt like, okay, this thing is going to work?
It was working. There were definitely some road bumps. There's a technology roadmap with any technology or solution. Usually in the early stages, where you're getting people who are quote unquote your early adopters, you're really taking feedback from them and their suggestions, and they're really valuable to you because you don't have a lot of users at that stage. So one is you want to make them happy, and when they ask for something, you want to do your best to implement it so you can keep them on. And if it's a valid feature request or suggestion, you want to implement it for other people as well. So we knew every user is important, but at that point, like, it's really critical because they're giving you essential feedback on what needs to be built into the platform. You can read a lot of books on that technology roadmap too. There is a point where you want to start saying no to, because now you're going to the mass market. You have to make the product. You can't take every single feature request. You have to prioritize what your resources are, because now you have so many users, you're getting billions of feature requests. So you really prioritizing the feature request becomes really important, and that's you have to decide what is the best use of resources and going to help the most amount of people in the community at that stage. So
great, thank you. And one last thing, just a suggestion for a potential future webinar. Just to throw it out there in case you haven't already done it, is how to get funding, seed funding and that sort of thing. So just an idea.
Okay, thank you for that.
Great. All right.
Cheers. All right, good questions there. A little background about BD, a little embarrassing but fun to talk about where think there's a saying, to know how far you've come, or look how far, or look where you're going, look how far you've come, something like that. So thank you for that, Stephen. All right, and let's see, anyone else have any questions or need any assistance with your site? Now is the chance. All right, we actually don't have any more hands up. That's perfectly fine. I was gonna recommend, if we didn't get to your questions here, or you have questions after the webinar, please join us in the Facebook group. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. David, thank you so much for an amazing tip of the week. We took a step back from working in the business and talked about working on the business. Really super important. Lots of lab updates. The next webinar will be in 2 weeks. I'm expecting some more awesome updates to share with you guys. This was webinar 145. We'll do an iPad giveaway at webinar 150 right before the close of the new year. So again, please join us in the Facebook group. We'll post a replay to this webinar in there, brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll get updated with our newest videos. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/YouTube. And on behalf of myself, David, and the entire lovely Brilliant Directories family, it's been fantastic being with you guys here today. Have a great day and a brilliant week. I'll see you in the Facebook group, and we'll see you in 2 weeks in the next webinar. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.